Welcome back to the series where I read to you guys the founding documents of the United States government. Article 7. The ratification of the conventions of 9 states shall be sufficient for the establishment of this Constitution between the states so ratifying the same. Now from here we have a note about the way certain things were written by Attest William Jackson, Secretary. And then we have a little note about when this was done and the names. This is signed by George Washington, President and Deputy of Virginia. And then, of course, are all the signees. I will give you those right here. Okay, well, guys, that is me reading the Constitution. And I read from this, my hard copy, as you can see, Smithsonian edition of the Constitution. That means this is copied direct. And it does also include the Bill of Rights and the amendments. So if you guys want to hear the Bill of Rights and the amendments, you guys have to let me know. Now the reason I did this, despite my extremely bad dyslexia, my struggling to read it, the amount of stops and starts, the breaks in them, all come from me having problems actually being able to read what I'm reading. So why did I do it? Because the same reason I have that pocket Constitution, as well as an additional pocket Constitution that's just paperback that I had until I found this. It's also the same reason why I started paying attention to politics when I was 4 years old during the Reagan-Mondale election. The whole reason is these are the founding documents of the government I was born in, which means these are the founding documents of those who believe they have the right to rule over me. And these are the rules they go by. Now, of course, amendments, well, they get changed every day. And so this is only accurate to, so far. Let's see, I've got a amendment that was made in 1789 and amended in 1992. I'm sorry, it was ratified in 1992, not amended. So, looks like the newest date in here is actually 1992. So, of course, I may need to eventually get an updated version, but, this is what they believe that they are allowed to use to rule over me. So, of course, it is important for all of us to understand what it is that the government's role really is. Now, I read the Constitution specifically because that is the government's role, not the people's role. So that tells you what your government is supposed to be doing and what they're not supposed to be doing. Unfortunately, me reading this is not enough to cause and motivate people to act. on the illegal behaviors that's happening currently. And I know that there are some people who see these who will believe that there's nothing illegal happening in our government right now at all. But I have read for you all of the words of all of the articles of the founding documents of the government's behavior towards its citizens. As I said, if you guys want to hear me read the Bill of Rights or the amendments, please let me know. For now, I think this project is good. I'll add to it if you guys want me to. And if not, I've got so much other stuff to work on. Including a series that is kind of a game series, but I'm actually going to be putting it here on this channel because of the fact that it is primarily for mental health. Thank you guys. I want to thank you, especially if you actually sat down and listened to me read all of the Constitution. Especially. Thank you so much. I hope that you understand that these are to be used as a jumping off point to understand the thoughts behind the making of our government as well. Because of the fact that the Founding Fathers each individually had their own ideas of what they were trying to help to create when creating this government. One thing that I would recommend if you are definitely going to be, getting a little bit more into this, or if you want to understand what the words I read fully mean, I recommend going and finding the things that the Founding Fathers actually wrote about founding the country. Now, there are quite a few Founding Fathers who are also authors. People like Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, for sure, to note, had books about their experience and their reasonings for creating the Continental Congress to begin with, let alone everything else. It's one of the biggest things I recommend if you want to fully understand why we are the way we are as a nation, or why the Founding Fathers had the ideas to put this, that, or the other in the documents. Look them up, read their work, let them tell you in their own words why they wanted to do it. I think you'll find that some of the people who were our Founding Fathers were doing it for actual noble purposes, actually to help everyone. The two I mentioned specifically spoke of wanting to practically eradicate poverty. Of course, I'm paraphrasing, but they had spoke of those things because they wanted it. Now, of course, there is a Founding Father or two that wanted to actually to allow corporations to start to come in and, have their say. And I know a lot of people want to say corporations didn't exist back then, but they did. The East India Company, I'm pretty famous for talking about being one of the largest corporations in the world to this day. And yes, by the way, guys, the East India Tea Company is still around. It's just not quite the East India Tea Company anymore. It's, evolved. So, I always recommend study, though. You guys all know that stuff. I always recommend researching your history, researching information. If you really want to know, don't take someone else's word for it. And if you don't want to take my word for what's actually in the Constitution for all these videos, I also recommend buying it for yourself. If I remember, I will actually think to link a pocket Constitution in the description. All right, guys, I am going to get out of here. I'm going to edit a bunch of stuff up. I'm going to move on with my day and get ready to start on my next big project. But you guys know exactly what I'm about to say next. You guys haven't seen it this whole series, so I might as well give it to you at the end of the series. It doesn't matter who you are. I love you. Take care of each other. And I'll see you guys in the next video.